What we're going to do in this video is show you how to set up your users and groups in Education 365, the Microsoft product that gives us the ability to manage teacher and student education. First of all, we go to the Education 365 menu area, or the login area. We get to this by clicking on here. All of you should have a button that will allow you to do that. And then what we do is we click on the username. If you don't already have a username set up, you'll have to get that set up. So put in your password. For example, here, my password. And then this brings us into the opening menu. From here, in order to set up things like groups and users for my classroom, I need to go into my admin area. This will take me into the Office admin area. Now, if you don't have admin rights on the Office 365 school system, then you won't be able to do this. You'll have to get somebody else to do it. Of course, in that case, you wouldn't actually be watching this video. Now, once we're here, what we do is we go to Users, because first of all, what we want to do is set up our active users. Click on Active Users. This will bring up a list of all the users that we have in our system. Now, here you can see that I already have a number of users set up. I'm going to add a user. And what I do is I click on this plus symbol here. Once I've done that, I put in the person's first name. I'm going to set this up for Jonathan Powell. Okay, display name is whatever you want it to be. And then here, what we're going to be doing is using the first letter of their first name, which in this case is J, and we'll be using the last name that they use as our naming convention. And then, of course, we make sure that it's at the correct domain area, Raymond to the Nations. I'm going to enter in a password that I remember. This just prevents me from having to record every auto-generated password for my users to give to them. And this way I end up with one password that I use to hand out to my class on the first time they actually go into their system. I'm going to use the password 01 with a capital P. I re-enter this, password 01 with capital P. I make sure that this person will change their password the next time they sign in. And then what I do is I go down and I select the licenses. There are two licenses that I'll select for students. The first is the Azure Rights Management for students. The second is the Office 365 Education for students. I'll go ahead and create this. And then what this will do is we'll create a user. It'll come up here and tell me that it's been created successfully. I'll close this, and then it will automatically place that user right here into my system. Any changes I want to make to this user, I simply go into this active users area, select it, and then what I do is I go into edit. The user edit here, reset their passwords, I can change their roles. This basically allows them to become admin, things like that. I'm not going to worry about that right now because this is just a simple user. Now, you'll create your other users as well in the very same way. And now what we want to do is we want to go and we want to create a classroom group. Now, I'm going to create a group here. It will be kind of a fake group, but the group name is going to be Preparatoria, and this is going to be Semester 1, 2015. Now, what you want for your naming convention is to make sure that you have the actual class level, if necessary, for example, if it's preparatory, you need to specify which part of the preparatory year it is. In this case, semester 1 would be the first classroom that group of users that actually goes into preparatory, and then the year for that. If this was for the secondary, it would be much simpler. We would just put in here Secundaria grade level 1, 2015. It's important to put in the year because what this allows you to do is for the following year to have a different group of users with a slightly different name. And you'll always know who was in your second area 1, who's for 2015, you'll know who's in secondary 1 for 2016, and so on. And over time, you'll be deleting these groups. We go ahead and we create this. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to edit the members, which is to add members to this particular group that we just created. So for example, here, I'm going to put in a user that I created previously. You can see I just start typing in the person's name. If it doesn't find it, then what it will do is it will simply won't show anything. Now, I'll go ahead and I'll create the name of the user that I just put in. So I start typing in John, and then immediately what it does is it gives me my username here. Okay, I go ahead and select that. Now, I'm ready to add another one. So I might add here, for example, just start Juan Jesus. Okay, there might be another user that I want to add. And this might be, for example, now, if I'm trying to add a user that it can't find, then this will happen. It simply won't allow me to do it. Okay, I'm going to add one more. And this is going to be Mary. Okay. Now, this is a very simple group. I've only added 3. I'm going to go ahead and just click on Add. Close. Now I have a group with 3 members in it. Now at this point, what I can do is I can go ahead and I can close out of here. I'm going to just go back here. You can see the group that was created here, Second Area 1, 2015. Now, I'm done everything I need to do in Office 365 in the Admin Center. Now what I need to do is sign in to the Teacher Dashboard. So I'll click on here to sign in to Teacher Dashboard. This will take you to the Teacher Dashboard website. Depending on the speed of your link, it may take a few seconds to come up, but you can see that this is what happens when it actually does come up. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is go into Users. Now, if you look, you'll notice that the users that I just created, the Jonathan Powell, doesn't show up in this list anywhere. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Synchronize Users over here. What this will do is it will synchronize all the users I just created in the Microsoft dashboard with the users that you see here. Okay? Now, if I go down, you can see that Jonathan Powell was added to this list of users. That's very important. Without doing that, you won't be able to add Jonathan in the class that we're about to create. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my class area here. Or sorry, I'm going to go into my group area here. So I click on groups. You'll notice that my second area group doesn't exist here. So what I want to do is click on the sync groups. So I click on this. Okay, it brings me to the Azure Active Directory sync. It hasn't done anything yet, but now I have this option to sync now. Okay, I click on Continue. What it will now do is it will synchronize my groups that are in Teacher Desktop with the groups that are in the Office 365 application. This can take a few seconds, but it shouldn't be too long if all you've done, like we did, is add one group. Now, if you look, you'll notice that now what it's done is it's added the Second Area 1 2015 group. What we need to do is click on this Mostrar or Show option. What it will then do is it will synchronize the users that are in that group. Once it's finished synchronizing the users, we're going to go into the Gestionar, which is to manage that group. Click on this. And then we turn this into a class. Now, we can use a custom display value for here by clicking on here and then changing this to whatever we want and applying, or we can simply close this if we are okay with what we have. Now, what's going to happen here is that I'll go over to classes, and you'll notice here that the second area 1 class now shows up in this area here under classes. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go into this area and manage. Our problem right now is that we don't have a teacher for this particular class. So what we want to do is click on here, espionage, and then we're going to go to members, and we're going to add a teacher. You can see that all of these people are members. We're going to add a teacher here. Okay, we click on add a teacher. We then go into the box that comes up for us, and we're going to make the admin user our teacher. Okay, you can see that it adds it, makes him the professor, and then what we do is we go ahead and we close this. Okay. Now, I like to synchronize the class here and sync with AAD. Okay, I'll go ahead and sync now. Continue. This step isn't actually necessary, but what it does is any changes that I make, for example, within that class, which is a group within Office 365, will then be updated. Now, the good thing is that it doesn't update the teacher that you just added. It still only records the students. This is important because when you're sending out email as a teacher, you don't really want to receive that email yourself. If you do, then what you would do is you would add the teacher in the Office 365 admin area as an actual user within that group. Okay, and that completes the study of how to add these users and groups for the purpose of formulating classes. The next video will show you how to set up homework to send out to your users.